Hey, what's up? My name is J.M. Chaley and welcome to my channel. This week I want to talk about Kindle Vella. I want to talk about my method for how I've been doing it. If you watched my last video, you know that I recently ranked 168 out of tens of thousands of other titles. I'm still, wow, I'm still floored by this. So I mean, I'm doing something right if I've gotten that sort of readership or attention or growth. So I just want to share kind of my method with everyone. First, a little bit of a disclaimer. I am not a Kindle Vella expert by any means. I am still learning the ropes. Things happen. I'm like, how did that happen? What this video is not so much an instruction guide about what you should do. It's more about what I've done and what seems to be working for me and what I've observed. So before I even delved into Kindle Vella, I looked at it for a while. I read it. I joined Kindle Vella groups. I asked questions. I watched different series and how they work. And one of the things I noticed was that Kindle Vella will tell the reader, any prospective reader, how often or how many episodes have been released in the last 30 days. Now, some Kindle Vella series are complete, so that would be a moot metric to follow. But for the ongoing series, in the last 30 days, it'll say how many episodes have been released. And let's say you posted an episode 31 days ago. Kindle Vella is going to come out and say 0 episodes released in the last 30 days. Now, even though maybe you have every intention of posting soon, the perception it gives to potential readers is that maybe you're not updating this series that much or at all. It's hard to say if the series has been abandoned, if it hasn't been touched in 2 months or 6 months or whatever, if all they're looking at is 30 days. So right off the bat, I thought, okay, well, I need to be able to post at least every 30 days. The other piece of it was I didn't want to lose readership, because I don't know about you, but if I pick up a book, read a chapter of it, set it down for a month, pick it up, read another chapter, you see where I'm going with this, right? I don't know that the book is going to hold my interest, even if it grabs me a second for a while. If I go on and move on to other things for a month, I'm not sure that I'm going to go, oh yeah, I got to go back and read chapter whatever. Now, that's a full-on chapter of a book, let alone the average length of a Kindle Vella series, which can run anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000 words. Like a little 10-minute read, maybe. With that in mind, I knew that I needed to publish frequently. So I decided on 1 episode a week. Now, I've seen Kindle Vella authors that do 2 episodes a week, or even more. I was watching someone that said they have a strategy where they're going to post a new episode every day until the rest of the year. For the rest of the year. Oh my God. Now I'm going to get to how your frequency of publication and your writing and editing strategy come together. And that I'll get to that, but that's tough. That's tough. So before I even published my very first episode, I had 9 episodes written. So having a kind of buffer of episodes has me in a position where I can go on vacation, or I can succumb to the schlumps where I don't feel like writing, or I'm just in a place where I can't think of where the plot's going to go next. I don't want to call it writer's block, because I did a video on writer's block and kind of my thoughts on that and how to get out of it. There it is over there. So when it comes to editing, like when I had the first 9 episodes written, I had the luxury, because I hadn't gone live yet, I had the luxury of taking all 9 episodes and looking for beta readers, and I had time to do it. And I had a few beta readers, they read all 9 episodes, I got feedback, I made some tweaks, what have you, but I don't have time every week to solicit a round of betas. So here's what I do. I write the episode, there's my first draft. I put it aside. I might start on the next episode. I ignore this guy. About a week later, I'll go back and I'll read episode 1 again, and I do a round of edits. Then, because I have a buffer of X amount of weeks, I will go back to it again, maybe 3 or 4 weeks later, do another pass over, tweaks, edits. I'm still finding spelling errors and grammatical errors and things like that. I find all this kind of stuff. Then now I have kind of, not a final draft, but I have a polished draft. Now, I put it through Pro Writing Aid. Pro Writing Aid will find stuff, passive voice, other grammatical errors I've forgotten. It may suggest stronger verbs, all this kind of stuff. Pro Writing Aid is very cool if you haven't tried it. So Pro Writing Aid does its thing. I make my decisions on what I'm going to keep or not, tweaks. Then I give it to my wife. And my wife is my proofreader. Now, she is not an official proofreader. A proofreader is a real profession. They take special courses. They're skilled in all the grammatical rules. They know all the stuff. I think it's credited, like they have to get certified. I don't know all the rules, but you can't just say, I'm going to be a proofreader, and poof, you're a proofreader. You have to go through the motions of becoming one. Do I have time or money to do every single episode through a professional proofreader? No. So my wife proofreads my episode. She's not a proofreader. I just want to be very clear about that. And yes, she finds grammar and spelling problems even after Pro Writing Aid and after multiple rounds of edits, right? Now it's as good as it possibly can be with the resources I have at my disposal for the time constraints that I've given myself. Now I have about a week to get this episode published. The way I've been treating my series is almost like television, where if you've watched a television series, you have a season, but within that season you have various story arcs. And it may take X amount of episodes to introduce a new arc and resolution to that problem. Now, sometimes in an episode, there's a problem and a solution within it, and then there's a new problem and a solution, new problem, solution, and on and on and on. I choose to go with story arcs. Now, within those arcs, there are little obstacles, little mini obstacles, because I try to end on each episode on a cliffhanger or a question, but there's an overarching arc for X amount of episodes. And those episodes usually run 9 to 10, or those arcs usually run 9 to 10 episodes from introduction of the problem to resolution of the problem, and then it's on to the next thing. If you've been reading the series, you know that the first arc was the Missing Vampires arc. The second arc was the Deadly Rumors arc, right? For those of you reading, you know what these are. And the third arc, if you've started reading episodes 22, 23 should be out by the time that this video is released. So if you've been reading episodes 22, 23, you know that there is a werewolf arc that's out. So, and then there's going to be a fourth arc and a fifth arc, and that will be season 1 of The Unlife of Lisa Cooper. More to come after that. But that's kind of my strategy. And what I do with that arc is follow kind of a story shape. And with ups and downs, she gets into a problem, she gets into a problem, she gets out. She gets into a problem, she gets out. That sort of thing. And these are story shapes. And actually, I'm not going to explain it. Let's have the person that came up with the idea of story shapes, or simplified the idea of story shapes, explain it for you. Kurt Vonnegut.
This is the GI axis, good fortune, ill fortune. Sickness and poverty down here, wealth and boisterous good health up there. Here's the very middle. Now, this is the BE axis. B stands for beginning. E stands for electricity. Now, this is an exercise in relativity, really. Is the shape of the curves are what matters and not their origins. So we'll start a little above average. Is why get a depressing person? We'll start The whole thing, we call this story Man in Hole, but it needn't be about a man, and it needn't be about somebody getting into a hole. But it's just a good way to remember it. Somebody gets into trouble, gets out of it again. People love that story. They never get sick of it.
Okay, so that's the idea of a story shape, and I follow kind of the same thing when I think about rising and falling of tension, of problems and whatnot. Now I'm going to show you a little bit of how I've done Lisa's story arc. And I'm going to avoid spoilers here, but if you don't even want to see the highs and lows of each episode, skip to this time slot and you'll be past it. So here is the Arc 1 diagram. Lisa's first story arc was 9 episodes. In episode 1, I established the status quo. This is kind of, her daily life. Let's introduce Lisa. How does she do what she do? What's her normal night life like? All that kind of stuff. Something bad happens while she's hunting. In episode 2, she makes a hard choice with consequences. And the rest of the episode is Lisa kind of in that lousy place. In episode 3, she is still in that lousy place, but the main plot is still moving on. And Lisa finds herself in mortal danger. In episode 4, she gets out of that mortal danger. Things get a little better. A good thing happens. We get some laughs, but she is left in a predicament that leaves her worse off than where she was before the start of episode 3. In episode 5, Lisa's predicament is resolved, but then she's hit with a new problem for this episode. In episode 6, Lisa struggles with the situation she was left with from the previous episode. Then it evens out and improves. We get some laughs, and then something bad happens. You see where I'm kind of going with this? Every episode I want to end with some sort of problem, cliffhanger, or a question, because it's going to make you want to read the next episode. In episode 7, she resolves the issue from episode 6, but Lisa is left shaken and doesn't recover to her previous highest position. Then things turn dangerous again. Okay, so episode 8, this is the third act of this very first story arc. We're coming to the conclusion. We're heading towards it. My readers have stuck with it and saw Lisa rise and fall and seen things go from bad to worse. Now I need to start thinking about the payoff. So here we have a heroic moment that resolves episode 7, and I take on kind of a humorous, suspenseful scene, and she's standing at the threshold of solving her big problem. So I give you a little bit of levity, there's a little bit of a laugh, but I do end on kind of a suspenseful note. Episode 9 is the conclusion of the very first story arc. We're riding high from that recent victory. She runs into more danger, and then she gets out with the big win at the end. So there you have it, not a ton of spoilers, but that's kind of the arc pattern, her story shape pattern for the very first story arc, the Missing Vampires arc as I call it, that Lisa gets into. The last thing I want to talk about is marketing. I use BookBrush for a lot of marketing, and you just go on bookbrush.com, you can upload images, you can take your Kindle Vella cover and embellish it. You can put it on a little screen, like a little tablet screen or a phone screen to show that it's being read online. You can have a picture of someone holding it in their hands, reading your episode. There's lots of stuff you can do. I'm not going to get into this. Is not going to be a tutorial on how to use BookBrush, but I make a lot of marketing materials on BookBrush. I post every Monday. Now, there's a reason I post every Monday. You get a crown every week. And a lot of people will tell you to post Sundays. Now, Sunday is the beginning of the week, and I think that's when your crown will hit. So maybe I might think about that and shift my publishing dates to Sundays. But I wanted something in the beginning of the week, because if you unlock an episode, you have a crown to spend. And hopefully, someone cares to, they'll spend that crown, a fave, on my series. Now, if I post every Thursday or Friday, there's a good chance that those crowns have already been spent on other titles. So I want to post early in the week. So Sunday or Monday are good days to post. I'll post, hey, my new episode is out on my socials. Other days of the week, I may post a BookBrush marketing image. Some of them capture, reviews, or, here's a snippet of a 5-star review I got, that sort of thing. Go check it out. Here's the link. I don't or I try not to, I hope I don't, saturate my social media feeds with just bombarding people with this content. Because if they're following me and they're following me for me or my other stuff, maybe for YouTube or whatever, and they're not interested in Kindle Vella, I don't want to drive them away with spam, because to them it'll be spam. So you can segue from, hey, look at this video of this funny cat, to check out my Kindle Vella series. And they might be like, hey, yeah, I like this guy. Cats are cool. I'll read his thing. So again, your social media accounts should not be just this echo chamber of Kindle Vella, Kindle Vella, Kindle Vella. You know, you have to be yourself. On Mondays, I post my new Kindle Vella series on my social media account. On Thursdays, I post my new video. Hey, check out my YouTube video that's out this week. And on the other days, you know, are cat videos and silly stuff and cute animals and jokes and memes and all this kind of stuff, right? So that's kind of my social media marketing strategy. And so far it works. I'm growing my channel. I'm growing my my following on Twitter and Facebook and my other platforms. So it seems to be working. All right, so that about wraps it up. That's my Kindle method when we're talking about the frequency of how often I publish each episode, how I publish each episode when it comes to editing and things like that, and how I write my stories about story shapes and things like that, coming out with story arcs and things like that. You don't have to do that. Everyone's different. Every series is different. Not everyone does these big arcs like boom, boom, boom. Some people are just one episode at a time, and it continues in marching towards a greater goal, and the entire series is just an ongoing major plot for the Big Bang. Okay, so if you like this video, please give it a like, and as always, please subscribe. I post most Thursdays, and you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. It still feels weird to say that. You can check out more content on jmchaley.com. There's some art, there's some reading. More stuff is coming to jmchaley.com. I can't announce it yet, but it's going to be probably announced next month, I want to say. Stay tuned for that. There's stuff coming. I think that's it. Yeah, all right. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.